everyone, Board Game Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a new copy of Suspects. It's a cooperative murder mystery game highlighting Claire Harper, one of the first women that graduated from Oxford in 1927, specializing in criminal law. And it's a game published by Studio H. Now, I'd like to first ask you if you can like and subscribe to this channel. It's something easy for you to do, and it's really helpful for us. And like usual, let's get right into this game. This game comes with 3 stories where you will be investigating places and talking to people to gain clues and then to connect everything that you've learned to find out the answers to the questions for that scenario. You will start with an overview sheet that will introduce you to the story, and then you also get 2 documents that are specific to that scenario that will help you to start your investigation, giving you some information. Usually these documents will give you a type of map where you can go and investigate places, or some type of document that lists out different people so that you can go and talk to them. Each person, place, item, or sometimes another type of investigation is done by matching it with a number. That number then needs to be found in the deck of cards, and you will read it aloud. Sometimes that card will list further numbers to investigate further, giving you more clues, or sometimes leading you to dead ends. Your goal is to answer the questions on the overview card as soon as you think you can. Your score depends on getting the answer correct combined with the number of cards that it took you to get to that conclusion. So here in the first column, it will score you 5 points if you get it within the first 30 cards. When the 30th card is flipped over, you should answer all those questions the best that you can. And you can always change your answers later in the game when you find more evidence one way towards another thing or whatever you think. Whenever the 45th card is flipped out, so the same thing you should do, except if you think it's the same as you previously answered, you don't change it. Then after all the cards are flipped over, you will do the questions once more. So you will gain 5 points when you get the right answer before the 31st card, 4 points if it's before the 46th card, and 3 points if you get it right even if you go through every single card in the game. You will score no points if you get the question wrong, and you will total up your score at the end and see how well you did. After you have your answers, you will open the scenario envelope and you will see how well you did, reading all the evidence of how you could have come to the right conclusion. Each story is different and it tends to require a little more detective skills as you go on, but I will say from my own experience, they are all very hard. I'd say they aren't impossible, but even after reading every single card, many times we thought that we knew who and why without knowing some of the other questions. So surely with reading and having access to all the cards, you could figure out the truth. But the game isn't just about finding the correct cards in a certain order. It's about actually putting your brain and your detective skills to the test and almost making everyone in the story a suspect until they are not. So really the game heavily rewards players who have the ability to make logical conclusions and pull important details away from the story and from different documents that they find. Sometimes this requires reading between the lines or perceiving or detecting a hidden meaning. In addition to all the characters that are telling their views of all the other people, you'll need to assume that they are telling the truth from their view of all things. Don't assume that they're lying, saying one thing when they mean something else. Take their statements for exactly what they are. Now, again, you should know that this game is hard, and if you really like these types of games, this one will give you a challenge and let you deduce and think of events that lead up to your investigation and finding the answer. The game definitely requires a certain mood or timing to play it, as players will need to pay attention, you'll need to count cards as you play, and decide the path of how you want to go about investigating. You will most likely end up reading all the cards at the end of the game, but if you think you know one of the answers, you need to try to figure out one of the other questions and find its answers with the least amount of cards possible. The game also includes a nice timing mechanic where you will flip over so many cards until a specific card is flipped over, sometimes giving you a break in the case that you need. Other cards will connect one thing to another by connecting lines from one card, placing those cards adjacent to each other, and connecting them with that line, reading the text, and figuring out if they match or not. This can be played both solo and in a large group. With more players, there are more minds that can connect small things together and figure out the bigger picture. The best part of this game for me was opening up that envelope with the answers and finding out how well we did, or finding out the real answers and why we didn't come to that conclusion, which was more like it. The game relies on its cards to get the whole story, and it also determines how well you do in the game. Again, the game is hard, so have your A game ready to read those cards and connect anything you might think that needs connected. So go ahead and solve cases with Claire Harper with your family and friends in Suspects, a cooperative murder mystery game by Studio H.
Again, this is Board Game Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.